Welcome to Digimon.
Hello and welcome to Digimon and welcome to another deck profile. If you're liking this sort of content, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and ding that notification bell so you're not missing out on any of the latest content. Obviously in EX9, we had a lot of stuff that helps Omnimon. Case in point being Omnimon Alter-S, who I do think is the most busted card in the entire set. So, to that effect, we've already done an Omnimon adventure profile. Next, I wanted to look at the BT17 Omnimon stuff, which this is we're in the time now where this deck is making a comeback. I think this is really good. Not the best, but really good. And then come BT22, it's going to be even better. And I'm not done tests for BT22 stuff, but we will take a look at what I think we're going to be doing in BT22. But first, we'll take a look at this. I'm trying to go through as quick as I can, because we've also got a little bit of gameplay for you guys as well. So starting off with the egg, it is going to be the Koromon still. This has got the draw power that we need whenever we're removing something from security, which is absolutely fantastic. Then our rookies, we've got 4 of the BT17 Agumon. If you've got a tie in play, you can grab a Garurumon, Greymon or Omnimon from your trash, and it has this lovely end of turn DNA effect for the inheritable. Same with the Gabumon here, but this one at start of main, if you've got Matt, gets you a draw instead. So having either of these for your end of turn DNA is absolutely pivotal for the deck, absolutely fantastic. Then in the other slots for the rookies, I've actually gone for a little mix, because I used to play more of this, and I used to play more of this when I was flitting between them, and then I decided, you know what, why don't we just run 2 of each? I think that works. And they both serve different purposes. So the Gabumon from EX4 helps us with searching our Garurumons, as well as our Agumons, Greymons, and Omnimons. It'll let you add either of those, to your hand. So if you see a Garurumon and you see a Greymon at the same time, you can grab both. And it does have an inheritable, which doesn't really come up that much, but when one of the other Digimon Digivolves gain 1 memory, honestly does not come up that much, because most of the time we're not using this for our Digivolutions. We can, if we don't have these guys, then we could Digivolve this up into a MetalGarurumon with our WarGreymon. We can't Digivolve on top of this with our Greymon, unfortunately, but so sometimes that inheritable could come up, but most of the time it's not. We're mainly just using this to loop for searches. So we play it out, it will die, we bring it back out from the trash, and then we keep going. But it is great for the searching. The one thing you do have to watch out for it, though, is unlike a lot of cards, this doesn't bottom deck your revealed cards, it puts them back on the top. So you can put them in the right order, so you can then draw them in the order that you want, but if it reveals a bricky search, you're just putting it back there. So you need to make sure you keep that in mind and try and shift those bricks as quick as you can. Next is the Agumon from BT12. This reveals your top 4 and adds either a Greymon or an Omnimon in name, and 1 Tamer with Kamiya in its name amongst the hand. All of our Tamers have Kamiya in their name, even the ones with Matt, because all of them also have Matt in their name. So it just helps with searching the Tamers. We do need the ability to search Tamers. Honestly, if we had something that could search the the WarGreymons, the Garurumons, and the Omnimons, and the Tamers all in one, that would be great. And of course, thanks to BT22, we will be getting something that does that. But this Agumon has to do for now. Also has a decent inheritable which can come up, which is the all turns effect to give us a 1000 DP boost to our Greymons and Omnimons. Then we go on to Greymon itself from BT17. When Digivolving, if this Digimon's name is Koromon, this Digimon gets 3000 DP for the turn, then delete one of your opponent's Digimon with as much or less DP as this Digimon. Why is it Koromon? Because it's got an all turns effect. This Digimon gains all the names of level 3 or lower cards in its Digivolution cards. So it will be called Koromon, or it will be called Agumon or Gabumon at the same time as being called Greymon, which is really nice. And then it's got an on-deletion effect, which it also has as the inheritable, which is you may play 1 Tamer card with Kamiya or Kamiya in its name from your hand without paying the cost, or hatch in your breeding area. So if it's on your turn and this dies, I tend to find hatching again to rebuild your stack at the back is the best way to go. If it dies on your turn, on your opponent's turn, then playing out a Tamer is usually going to be the best way, because there's no point hatching on your opponent's turn. Also, sorry if my Discord just went off there. I had Discord open for the previous video I just recorded, and I have not closed it, so I should probably close that. Discord closed. Right, next is MetalGreymon Alterous mode. We actually have a level 5 in this deck. Now, this is a bit of a weird one in terms of the deck, because it doesn't come up that much. And honestly, I have been thinking of not using it, but there's a couple of reasons why I am still using it. First of all, it does have a great deletion effect, deleting an 8k or less Digimon, which actually it shares with our WarGreymon. But it's your turn effect is when any of your Digimon or Tamers with Garurumon or Kamiya in their names are played, or any of your Digimon digivolve into a Digimon with Garurumon in its name, this Digimon may digivolve into a Digimon card with Greymon in its name in the hand without paying the cost. So that essentially means if we play out any of our Tamers, or if we play either of our Garurumons, or digivolve into either of these Garurumons, this then gets to digivolve into a Greymon in name, which that could set up our DNAs. Like, say, for example, if we haven't got the inheritable from the Agumon and Gabumon, and we digivolve up into BlitzGreymon Ace, then we could DNA. We could do the WarGreymon, and then if we've got these guys underneath, then we could DNA there. It's also got a 4000 DP Your Turn inheritable, which does come really in handy, because there are some decks, like for example a Badomon, which our gameplay is against today, where the DP threshold really does matter, because they could get huge. They've got so many 1k boosts from their sources that we need this 4k to make sure we're bigger than them. You know, it's pivotal, you know, if we've not managed to kind of control the board. Granted, a Badomon does not have any protection, but against other decks that also have some big bodies, that 4000 DP really comes in handy. Then going into our level 6s, first going to the WarGreymons, we've got 4 copies of the WarGreymon from BT17. When this card would be played, if you've got a Tamer with Kamiya in its name, reduce the play cost by 3, so you're playing it out for 8, which is still pretty costly, but with the combo that you do with it, if you've got enough Tamers out, then you're not too worried about that. On play when digivolving, activate one of the effects below, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 8k or less, or one of your Gabumon may digivolve into a MetalGarurumon in the hand, ignoring its digivolution cost and without paying the costs. And it also has a great when attacking effect, which is if this Digimon has Omnimon in its name, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. And that really helps us out, because we now have access to a very easy OTK in this deck. An OTK that, in my opinion, is a little bit too easy. You know, then we'll go on to MetalGarurumon from BT17. Has that same kind of, you know, on play when digivolving, where it's got 2 different effects. The first one is one of the effects below, you know, one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers can't suspend until the end of their turn, and the other one makes a Agumon into a WarGreymon. Then it's also got that reduction effect. If you've got a mat, reduce it by 3, and it lets your Omnimon unsuspend, which again really helps us with that potential OTK. Then we've got 1 copy of the BlitzGreymon Ace. I am considering bumping this up to 2. Maybe taking out an Alterous mode or a Wisteria, something like that, just to make it, because I don't like having this as a one-off. I do think we do see it enough, because we can grab it from the trash with Agumon, we can grab it from the trash with Ty and Matt from EX9, you know, so we have ways of being able to get it, essentially. But I do wonder sometimes if we need 2 copies of it. It's got Alliance, it's got Blocker. On play when digivolving, digivolve 3, one of your opponent's Digimon. And end of turn, 2 of your Digimon may DNA digivolve into Omnimon Alter-S in the hand, not Omnimon pivotally. Then one of your Digimon may attack. So if you don't have your BT17 time mat out, this gives you a way of still attacking in with your Omnimon, and it also gives you that way of DNA digivolving into Omnimon Alter-S specifically if you know, don't have the end of turn DNA from your Agumon or Gabumon. So I do think it's really good. It has security attack +1 into the inheritable as well, Alliance and Blocker, so it can be a defensive ace, going on top of the Alterous mode potentially. So can CresGarurumon Ace from EX9 as well, and the CresGarurumon Ace is a 2 of, just because of the fact I've always statistically found it harder to grab the Garurumons than the Greymons, and that is purely because this could search the Greymon, this could search the Greymon, this could search the Greymon, this could search the Garurumon, this could search the Garurumon, this can't search the Garurumon. So I've always found BT17 a bit, the BT17 Omnimon deck a little bit awkward when it comes to getting your Garurumon. So I wanted to make sure we had as many Garurumons as possible, so slightly up on the count here. And the CresGarurumon Ace is also really good for another reason. So it's got the Alliance and Blocker just like the BlitzGreymon Ace, but it also allows you to return one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon to the bottom of the deck. But the really important effect, or 2 of them really, the inheritable is also really important, is when any of your level 6 Digimon would leave the battle area other than in battle, 2 of your Digimon may DNA digivolve into Omnimon Alter-S in the hand. So again, it's Omnimon Alter-S, but that now gives us an additional Miraculous Mega Knight, essentially. Obviously, Miraculous Mega Knight lets us go into any Omnimon, whereas this only allows us to go into Omnimon Alter-S. But just by virtue of this, of having this, you know, we can still threaten that. You know, we've got multiple ways of threatening that. The other great thing about it as well is that it's 7 play cost. The cheapest we can make this is 8. So sometimes that 7 play cost really matters. So for example, I was up against Charles the other day playing a Badomon, and this one essentially allows you to, you know, you play this out. I bottom decked one of his dudes, and then because I had enough of these ties and mats out, I gained 6 memory. He'd left me on 1, bearing in mind. I gained 6 memory, returning myself back to 0. I then went into the next card we're going to talk about, you know, and just OTK'd from there. And I'll explain that OTK in a minute. After we've, of course, said this Digimon's attack target can't change. The inheritable there is really, really nice. And the next card, the most important upgrade for any Omnimon DNA-focused deck, Omnimon Alter-S. I freaking love this card. It is dumb. It is busted. I think it could potentially be something that, you know, is going to see a hit, I'll be honest. I think it's so stupid. Granted, only Greymon, Garurumon and the version 1, version 2 decks can really make use of the reason why I think it is busted, whereas stuff like Galaxy can't. But the fact is, you could always just tech in your Galaxy deck for, you know, for stuff where you've got Greymons and Garurumons. There's nothing that's going to stop you from doing that, especially because it's just generically any Greymon or Gabumon underneath you. I'll read out the effect just to make sure I'm being succinct as well, because we're doing this slightly out of order, but it's the end of attack we're talking about, which is you may play 1 card with Greymon in its name, or the version 1 trait, and 1 card with Gabumon in its name, or the version 2 trait, from this Digimon's Digivolution cards without paying the costs. And if this effect played, place this Digimon's as your top security card. So this gives you a recovery, whilst putting out your 2 extra bodies, which will delete something, will de-digivolve something. I didn't mention this does de-digivolve 3. Will stop something from suspending. Will bottom deck something. And then you can just DNA again. So if you've got at least 1 Omnimon Alter-S, and then either 1 Alter-S or 1 other Omnimon in your hand, you can OTK. So as long as they don't have anything too big, which again, that's where the Alterous mode comes in with that 4000 DP. You know, as long as you have retained turn, you've got that OTK available, and it's not that hard to pull it off. All you need is, you know, enough stuff to keep your memory intact. You know, so these guys, for example, your Wisteria, you know, just setting stuff up as time goes on. Yes, it does require a bit of setup, but it's really not hard to do. You know. And then also Omnimon Alter-S just gives you that OTK, because you can just swing with Omnimon Alter-S, trash the top, unsuspend. This is not mandatory, so you don't have to do it at that point. So that is 2 checks right there, your trash and your normal check. Then swing in again, 1 more check, so they're on 3. Then end of attack. Put out your WarGreymon and your MetalGarurumon. DNA into either this Omnimon or another Alterous. Attack in again. Trash, unsuspend. In the case of this one, don't do the end of attack. In the case of this one, it doesn't matter. That's all 5 checks done. You're unsuspended, and you just swing for game from there. And I managed to do this the other day against Charles, where I managed to go into 3. I managed to go into 3 Omnimons in 1 turn off of that 1 memory, that CresGarurumon, and gaining 6 off of these guys. It's a stupid card. And on top of that, if DNA Digivolving, your opponent's effects don't affect this Digimon for the turn, which is really amazing. Bearing in mind, on the actual print of the card, it says Digimon effects. It is all opponent's effects, and it is only for the turn, so it doesn't last forever. But the fact that it does that means that you can't be deleted by an ace, you can't be de-digivolved by an ace, you can't be deleted by something in security that is like an option or something like that. Obviously, if something's bigger than you, then you're not immune to that. But yeah, this guy is dumb, and then on top of that, he also deletes all of the Digimon at the highest level. So yeah, this guy is the absolute breath of fresh air that this deck needed. He's blue, white, and red. We could search him really easily. He is amazing, absolutely amazing. And honestly, I'm not playing any Alter Bs. I'm not playing any Omnimon X's. You don't need to, now that Alterous is here. Omnimon X can't Digivolve on top of this anyway. Alter B can. But honestly, you don't need that Alter B. Yes, it's nice to be able to trash their security. So if you're going up against maybe like something like Royal Knights, where you know there's a lot of really big stuff in there, that's where that matchup might be necessary. So that might be something to tech in. Let me know in the comments below. I mean, I know a lot of guys who will comment in the below who disagree with my deck builds, which is absolutely fine. That's the human condition at the end of the day. But I ultimately just think in general, you don't need your Alter B anymore because this guy is so good. Yes, Alter B could go on top of this, but he just gives you the ability, because it's the very fact that he takes advantage of the broken mechanic that is DNA Digivolution, essentially giving rush to whatever you go up into. Because they want to make it worth it. Oh, you've got 2 bodies. You've gone to the effort of making 2 bodies. Oh, yeah, no worries. Yeah, cool. We'll make it so your Digimon can attack once you DNA'd with those. That's cool. That's fine. Don't worry about it at all. That was made at a time when we couldn't just shit out our level 6s from underneath a previous level 7 and then do it again. Mark my words, Alterous is potentially something that could get a limitation in the future. I'm almost dead certain of it. I feel it in my bones. We're going to have to see how the Omnimon decks do going forward, but I genuinely feel it. If the deck kind of lifts off and starts doing really well, it'll be because of this guy, and it'll be limited at some point in the future. I have no doubt. Unless, of course, the decks do bad. And then my opinion is in a lot of doubt. But we'll have to wait and see. Anyways, I've ranted a lot. I said I was going to try and do this quickly. Omnimon Ace. So this is our other Omnimon at the moment. It's kind of really, I'll be honest, a placeholder until we can get our next kind of more searchable Omnimon from BT22, though I am still planning on playing this in my BT22 build because of the Ace potential. It's got Raid, it's got Blocker, so it can be defensive. On play when Digivolving, if DNA Digivolving, choose one of your opponent's Digimon and return it and all of their Digimon with the same level as it to the bottom of the deck, then delete one of their Digimon. So this could just clear a board on its own, potentially. Also love the reference to that effect as well, because it's meant to be, oh yeah, we're destroying Diaboromon. They're all level 6. Off you fuck, Diaboromon. So I think it's really cool. Great card. Is gonna start being a little bit less used, I think. Just because of the fact that it's not as searchable off of the boosts, and the overflow can be an issue, especially in this particular build where we've got CresGarurumon Ace and BlitzGreymon Ace, making that overflow potentially worse. But it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Anyways, BT17, Tai and Matt is our first Tamer. I'm playing 4 copies of this. All turns when one of your Digimon is played or Digivolves by suspending this Tamer. If you have a Digimon with Greymon in its name, gain 1 memory. And if you have one with Garurumon in its name, gain 1 memory. And end of turn, one of your Digimon with Omnimon in its name may attack a player. So this just makes your DNA worth it if you have managed to pass turn. And it's just absolutely phenomenal. The other great thing about Omnimon Alter-S, going to go back to that, is with this being able to attack at the end of the turn with this, it then just goes pop into its 2 bodies. It's affected by stuff once it goes to your opponent's turn, so you don't want to have it there. But it then sets you up for your Miraculous Mega Knight, for your Cress, for all of those effects, for your Ace on their turn. Sorry, I've backtracked and gone back to this card. It's just so good. Anyways, EX9, Tai and Matt. This one, on play, you may return a Digimon with Greymon, Garurumon, or Omnimon in its name from your trash to the hand, and if this effect didn't return, draw 1. So, not bad. And then it has that same gaining memory effect as the BT17 one. If something is played or Digivolves, you gain a memory for a Greymon, and you gain a memory for Garurumon. Just really nice. The fact that we've got an additional trash grabber is phenomenal. Then we've got Matt and Tai, just one copy of this guy. He gains a memory if you play out a Gabumon or an Agumon, which is actually pretty handy. We have ways of playing out the Agumons and the Gabumons. And also it can play them out itself. When one of your Digimon Digivolves, if you have 1 or fewer Digimon, you may play 1 Gabumon if that Digimon has Greymon in its name, or 1 Agumon if it has Garurumon in its name from your hand or trash without paying the cost. That second effect, I tend to find sometimes does not come up, because if we've got 2 Digimon in play, we can't use it. But it is there, and it is good enough. And the other great thing about it is another dual colour Tamer. You know, and I know a lot of people, you know, in previous builds, myself included, would play the ST15 tie, the one that gives you the 2k and the draw when an attack target is switched. But with the Alterous mode giving us a DP boost, I don't think that card is as worth it now. Obviously, the Alterous mode is not always going to be in our stack, but you know, I do find I don't want that tie as much as I used to. I could be wrong. You know, you could absolutely play it, but so far I've had plenty of luck with this deck. You know, plenty of very good plays. It's lost a couple of times at DCGO, but again, not every deck is perfect. There are some people in the comments that be like, well, you're just going to straight up lose to this, this, and this. And it's like, yeah, and what? I might do. I'm not guaranteed to, but I might, and that's okay. Not every deck has to be perfect, because no deck is. Anyways, Miraculous Mega Knight next. You may play an Agumon or Gabumon from your hand or trash without paying the cost. Then place this card in the battle area. When one of your level 6 Digimon with Greymon or Garurumon in its name would leave the battle area outside of a battle delay, that Digimon and a card in the hand may DNA Digivolve into a Digimon card with Omnimon in its name in the hand. So that will let you DNA to either Alterous or Omnimon S or Ace, sorry, on the opponent's turn, which is great. Playing out the Agumon or Gabumon is also great as well, because it means if these guys are in the trash, we can get back our DNA, or we can do a search. You know, it's just a fantastic card. Let's just play out a Tamer as well. Let's just play Ty or Map, you know, from our hand, which will be less good in BT22, because of the fact we've got a Tamer, you know, on the way that is not a Ty or a Mat, but still really good nonetheless. And then we've got 4 copies of Wisteria Memory Boost just to help us with searching stuff out. It can search almost every Digimon in the deck, bar this one, and this one, but everything else is searchable. Gives us a memory boost as well, you know, so really nice. But that is the deck, guys. Let's now go into a little bit of gameplay, and then we'll have a look at what I'm thinking in BT22. A very quick look, not a proper deck profile, just a very quick look, but onto the gameplay first. Okay, so going into the gameplay now, we actually decided to keep this hand just because we've got a lot of searching potential in the hand, and we are going up against a Badumon. So that is quite an interesting matchup for us. I've gone up against the Badumon quite a lot since it came out on DCGO, as well as also in paper against Charles. So we then go into our Wisteria. We're trying to search to see if we can get one of our DNA rookies instead of these Agumons, but we didn't get one, so instead we are going to just go Agumon in the back and then go to another Wisteria, see what we could get. We actually whiffed that, which is unfortunate, and off to their turn. So they've got their Negamon in the back, they've obviously got the Eismon scatter mode out front, so we're thinking, are they going to be going in? And they've got the Eismon scatter mode. No, is that Eismon? Is this the usual? No, have I got them the wrong way around? Is the first one? No, the first one is Eismon, and the one with all of the eyes is scatter mode, right? Right. I should probably read it next time the name actually pops up on screen, if it does. They do hit in. They don't get that on deletion because they have played out a Tamer for us, which is really nice. And they decide to play out their own Tamer, so they've now left us on 4. We are going to go 2 into Greymon. We are going to gain a 3k DP and blow up the non-on-deletion one. Don't bother getting the memory there. We're then going to have a little think on what to do. And what we're going to see is we're going to try and see if they're going to kill our Greymon, essentially. We're going to go all in on the Wisteria memory boost as well. Oh, wait, no, never mind. This is not that turn at all. We go into our CresGarurumon, bottom deck that Negamon, the scatter mode. We then go there. That will die, so we can then hatch in the back. That's what we're doing. Apologies, I didn't do this gameplay today. I actually played it last night. So, you know, I'm trying to remember exactly what went down. But we do play out another tie to finish our turn. So we've got the Agumon in the back. We've got a CresGarurumon Ace, which can't be de-digivolved because it was hard played. Which again is where, you know, the amount of memory gain we had there was perfect, because it meant we could retain turn just by gaining our 2 memory off of the time map. They're going to then play out the Eismon scatter mode. I did have it the right round. Yeah, that is the scatter mode, and the other one is the Eismon. So they get their draw 2, plonk something in the trash. They're going to go into the Eismon, which does have collision. So if it does attack in, they will force us to block, which we are bigger, but they will get to return something from trash, which could help them out. and they are very much having a think on what to do. And out comes another tie. So they are definitely wanting to do some stuff. We then grab our Greymon from the back. We're just going to, although they've got the undeletion, we are still going to go, okay, cool, off you go, bye-bye. After we gain our memory from the time mat. Delete that. They do get to grab something from trash, which is absolutely fine. So grabbing something with Negamon in its text, which is basically just anything in the deck for them. And they're going to swing in with our CresGarurumon using our alliance. So 20k going in, which is pretty darn nice, not going to lie. Then we are going to play out our MetalGarurumon, which is going to leave them on 3, which is perfect because they've got a memory tamer anyway. And then go into the WarGreymon, which is then going to attempt to delete something, but there's nothing there. And then we're going to DNA into our Alter-S. Now, a slight thing I should have done here was I should have actually DNA'd using the CresGarurumon and not the MetalGarurumon. The unsuspend didn't matter here because we're going to just poop out our Greymon and Garurumon anyway. But by leaving the CresGarurumon, that is suspended, so it could have been something that maybe would get beaten over by something bigger. There's not much of a chance of that happening, but against other decks, that could happen. So that's something I'm going to try and remember in future. Is if I've got an ace that is, suspended, and I know I'm going against something that doesn't have raid or anything like that, then, leaving that, making sure that is the DNA target, so it's then not unsuspended, essentially, will be good. But we have got our WarGreymon and our MetalGarurumon out. We've got the CresGarurumon to threaten the DNA into Omnimon Alter-S as well. So if they do attempt to delete any of our level 6s, we are going to initiate a DNA, which is really nice. They then go into the Raremon, I believe it is, yeah. Attempt to de-digivolve something, but they haven't got anything. And they then go into a really cool tech card, which I've been seeing in Agumon a lot. But in this case, because of our CresGarurumon, literally doesn't matter. Because we're going to do this, go into our big unaffected Omnimon Alter-S and attempt to delete all of their stuff. Or try to delete the Darkdramon anyway. But that's leaving us on 7 memory because they hard played this Darkdramon ace. They've got the Agumon, which is tough. I mean, that's bad. They've now got the Agumon core in the breeding area, so they do have something that's going to be, coming our way. Especially because we also don't have the unaffected stuff as well. So we're then going to hatch into our Koromon, go to Gabumon in the back. We then go Agumon, do a search. And we're going to grab Omnimon. Do that. Gain our memory. Don't gain our memory because don't have a Greymon and Garurumon, sorry. And we're looking at the Agumon core because we know that when we attack, that's going to move out. But CresGarurumon means that we are not we're not redirectable. So by playing out the Agumon, that's now the lowest level. So that will be deleted by the Agumon. And Omnimon Alter-S is simply swinging for game. So having more DP didn't matter. But we still got the win just through sheer trickery. Okay, so I hope you guys really enjoyed that gameplay. Quite a apt matchup, given it was EX9, if I do say so myself. But this is kind of what I'm thinking for BT22, which is basically just to skip a bunch of steps. So we've got Agumons, we've got the new Agumon, that's one that's just on play, grab something from trash, also has that end of turn DNA. We most importantly have the new Gabumon, which just lets us reveal top 3, add 1 card with Omnimon in its text, and 1 card with the CS trait among them to the hand, which is phenomenal, because that could grab literally everything in the deck bar Wisteria memory boost. This has Omnimon in its text. This has Omnimon in its text. This does not have Omnimon in its text, actually, saying that. But this does. And this does. And this does. And this, and this, and obviously these, and this does, and this does, and you do, and this does. So it can search almost everything apart from this Gabumon and the Wisteria member boost, which is dumb. Very dumb. Very good. Yes. Potentially you could even swap this one out for a one that searches, so you have got something that can play that is searchable off of it as well. So like maybe your EX4 Gabumon or your BT12. Again, I've not tested the BT22 build, guys. This is just my thoughts at the moment. whilst I'm kind of trying to think of what to do. And I will be starting to test with this because, you know, we've had the reveals and proxies will start coming about. We've taken away the blitzes and taken away the cresses because I love those, but we get a new WarGreymon and a new MetalGarurumon, which are just better. If you've got Nokia in play, these guys can both warp on top of your Agumons and Gabumons, and then either warp another one up, or, you know, delete something with the lowest DP, or bottom deck something with the lowest level. So they're not bad at all. I really like them. You know, in fact, both rares, so, you know, fairly easy to obtain. And then, of course, we've got the new Omnimon. This guy's really interesting. On play when attacking, not once per turn, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP. So when you unsuspend with your guaranteed effects from the MetalGarurumons, he can delete 2 things off the board, which is great. And when Digivolving, for every 2 same level cards as this Digimon in this Digimon stack, return one of your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of the deck. Then this Digimon may attack. So this Omnimon is going to potentially be really good in CS, potentially in Galaxy, obviously in this, although admittedly you're only going to be bottom decking one thing in the deck that it's actually meant to represent, whereas in either CS or Galaxy it could potentially be doing more. So there is that, which is cool. You could maybe try and put a bit more into your stack, maybe. I was saying that because when you DNA, because of the combo with the combo with Nokia, you'd also have a Gabumon. So actually, I don't know, they might be able to bottom deck 2 things, actually. That's not too bad. That's better than I thought, actually. But then it may attack. So irrespective of if you've got this one out, then you can do that. You know, so that's really, really good. And of course, my mouse and keyboard have just disconnected right on time. We've still got these guys in as well, but slightly less ratios here. We've got a little bit up because we're just skipping. We've got all of these warping level 6s. We might as well just skip the process. Why bother? Especially because your BT17 Greymon can't play out Nokias. So we've got the new Nokia. This is a memory setter, so that's great for the deck in of itself. Being able to start the turn at 3. Start of main and on play. If you have 1 or fewer Digimon, you may play 1 Agumon or Gabumon from your hand without paying the cost. So that's pretty good. The only thing with that, of course, is, again, you've got to have 1 or fewer. So there is that. But, you know, and hard playing her for 5 is going to suck. But, you know, it's still pretty damn good. And then all turns, all of your Digimon, Greymon, Garurumon, or Omnimon in the name gain 1000 DP, which is not the biggest boost. We could possibly do with other boosts. So, again, this is why this list, not tested at all. I need to kind of think about whether or not this is going to be the way to go. But we'll see. I've also gone for 2 of the old Nokia, just to make these warp effects more live, because they specifically need a Nokia, whereas the old WarGreymon and the old MetalGarurumon require time map. So, you know, I thought I'd put her in to prioritize that warp, as opposed to the old one, because obviously we've got 4 copies of these, whereas we've only got 2 copies of these. And that was over stuff like the one that grabs things sort of trash. So, again, not tested. May very well put them back in. But the old Nokia, I think, still could be good. I mean, she has the on-play, no 1 or fewer restriction. You may play 1 Agumon or Gabumon from your hand without paying its memory cost. So that's pretty good. If you're set to 3 already, you just push out an Agumon and then play this Nokia, play out your Gabumon. Then for 6, go into WarGreymon, warp your metal into your MetalGarurumon, DNA into an Omnimon. This has decode as well, by the way. I completely forgot to talk about that. Blocker, decode level 3 and decode level 3. So it can poop out your Agumon and poop out your Gabumon if it dies, which is pretty good. So I do kind of like this Nokia. Plus it also does allow us to Digivolve for 1 cost less, which will mean that these guys will no longer be 6, they'll be 5. So that's, yeah, it's not bad. That's not bad. It could be better, but it's not bad. You know, so definitely some experimentation with the BT22 deck, and I will definitely be doing a proper profile when that is out. So I need to get proxies out and start practicing. But anyways, this one's probably been a bit of a longer one because of the fact we've had the actual deck profile, the gameplay, and then kind of a pseudo deck profile at the end. But let me know what you guys are playing for Omnimon right now during EX9, and let me know what you guys are thinking for BT22. You know, I am very excited for BT22 despite the video I did, regarding the secret rare Tamers, which I'm still a bit salty for. Obviously, I'm just after recording that video. But I'm still very excited for the set. It could very well be my set of the year still, because of how much stuff I'm updating from this set. But let me know what you guys think of the builds. Let me know what you guys are theory crafting for BT22. And let me know if you guys are practicing with proxies too. Just let me know how you're doing, man. Whatever. Like, subscribe, ding that notification bell, and we'll see you again on the next video. But until then, keep it digital.